What if Ned was Faceless Man? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Lord Eddard Stark, Warden of the North. Honorable, some might even say. Naive, but what if there was more to Ned Stark than met the eye? What if, during his ill-fated tenure as Hand of the King, he discovered a hidden talent, a knack for disguise and deception that transformed him into something unexpected? A faceless man in secret? It all starts with Jon Arryn's death. The official story is fever, but Ned, ever the dutiful investigator, smells a rat, a big King's Landing-sized rat. He begins his inquiries, naturally, with Grand Maester Pycelle. An informative conversation, if one conveniently forgets all the half-truths and hidden agendas. But Ned, our hypothetical Ned, doesn't just take Pycelle's word for it. He starts observing. He notices the way Pycelle's eyes dart around the room, the slight tremor in his hands as he pours the wine. He observes the subtle deference afforded to him by the serving staff, the whispered conversations that cease abruptly as he approaches. Standard King's Landing fare, perhaps, but Ned's sharpened senses detect something more. A practiced facade, masking something deeper. To get a better read, Ned doesn't just send for the household accounts, though he does that too, naturally. Instead, he wants to see for himself, and that requires a little subterfuge. Now, Ned Stark isn't exactly known for his espionage skills, but necessity, as they say, is the mother of invention. He starts small, borrowing a stable boy's tunic, dirt smudged on his face. He blends into the Red Keep's underbelly. He listens to the servants' gossip, the hushed whispers about the Queen, the Lannisters, the rumors surrounding Arryn's demise. It's rough work. The stench of the stables, the coarse language of the grooms, it's all a far cry from Winterfell. But within this disguise, Ned finds something liberating. He is no longer Lord Stark, burdened by expectations and rigid codes of honor. He is just a nameless face in the crowd, and that's when he starts to notice things he never would have otherwise. A hurried exchange of coins between a kitchen maid and a gold cloak. A furtive meeting in the gardens between a septa and a man with the unmistakable bearing of a city watch commander. Fragments of information, seemingly insignificant on their own, but which, when pieced together, begin to paint a disturbing picture. The problem is, these observations need to be followed up on. He can't just barge into the city watch barracks as Lord Stark demanding answers. He needs to be someone else, someone less conspicuous. This is where things get interesting. Ned remembers stories from his youth, tales of travelers who could change their appearance with a simple shift in posture, a change in their voice. Tricks of the trade passed down through generations of wandering performers and con artists. Ned had always dismissed them as fanciful embellishments. Now he wonders. He begins to experiment. Standing before a mirror, he tries to imitate the gait of a grizzled old soldier he saw drilling in the courtyard. He practices lowering his voice, adopting a rougher accent. The results, initially, are laughable. He looks like a lord playing dress-up, which, of course, he is. But Ned is nothing, if not persistent. He studies the way different people carry themselves, the subtle nuances of their expressions, their mannerisms. He learns to mimic the swagger of a sellsword, the timid shuffle of a begging friar, the oily charm of a merchant peddler. He discovers that it's not just about the clothes or the accent. It's about embodying the character, about believing in the role. He finds a surprisingly willing tutor and an unlikely source, Varys, the Master of Whispers. Ned, in his early naivety, initially trusts Varys, seeing him as a potential ally in his pursuit of justice. But even before his transformation truly begins, he notices that Varys always seems to know more than he lets on. "My lord," Varys says one day, his voice a silken whisper, "you have a certain directness. Admirable, certainly. But in this city, a little indirection can be far more effective." Ned, intrigued, presses him for details. Varys, ever enigmatic, doesn't offer explicit instruction, but he provides subtle clues, hints about the art of observation, the power of disguise, the importance of understanding people's motivations. Varys doesn't know exactly what Ned is planning, but he senses a kindred spirit, a shared appreciation for the subtle art of manipulation. And perhaps, on some level, he sees in Ned a potential counterweight to the Lannisters' growing influence. Bolstered by Varys' veiled guidance, Ned begins to hone his skills. He ventures out into King's Landing, not as Lord Stark, but as a succession of different characters. A gruff dock worker seeking information about a shipment of exotic spices. A pious mendicant inquiring about the whereabouts of a missing child. A garrulous gambler, eager to exchange rumors over a game of dice dot with each successful disguise. Ned grows more confident, more daring. He learns to read people's reactions, to anticipate their questions, to weave believable stories on the fly. He discovers that people are far more willing to reveal their secrets to a stranger, especially one who seems to share their background or their interests. As his investigation deepens, Ned uncovers a network of illicit activities, of debts owed, of favors exchanged. He learns of the Queen's affair with her brother, Jaime, and the rumors surrounding the paternity of her children. He discovers that Jon Arryn was getting close to the truth, asking questions about Robert's bastards and the Baratheon bloodline. Armed with this knowledge, Ned could confront Cersei directly. He could expose her treachery and bring her to justice. But he knows that such a move would be reckless, that it would plunge the realm into chaos. He needs proof. Irrefutable proof. So he continues his charade. He uses his disguises to infiltrate the Lannisters' inner circle, to eavesdrop on their conversations, to gather evidence of their crimes. He learns to play them against each other, exploiting their rivalries and their insecurities. He even starts to subtly influence events, planting seeds of doubt in people's minds, steering them in certain directions, manipulating them into revealing their secrets. He becomes a puppet master, pulling the strings from behind the scenes, all while maintaining his public persona of the honorable, albeit somewhat clueless, Warden of the North. Ned's transformation is not without its consequences. The constant shifting of identities takes a toll on his mind. He struggles to reconcile his newfound skills with his deeply ingrained sense of honor. He questions whether he is becoming the very thing he despises, a manipulative schemer. He confides his doubts to one person, Catelyn, in letters carried by trusted messengers. But even in his letters he cannot reveal the full extent of his activities. He can only hint at the shadows he is moving in, the risks he is taking. Catelyn, far away in Winterfell, is worried. She senses a change in her husband, a darkness that she cannot quite comprehend. She fears that King's Landing is corrupting him, that it is turning him into someone she no longer recognizes. But Ned is determined to see justice done, even if it means sacrificing his own integrity. He believes that the ends justify the means, that the stability of the realm depends on exposing the Lannisters' treachery. His investigation leads him to Littlefinger, the Master of Coin, a man even more enigmatic and manipulative than Varys. Littlefinger claims to be an ally, offering Ned information and assistance. But Ned is wary. He knows that Littlefinger is a master of deception, that he cannot be trusted. But Littlefinger provides Ned with a crucial piece of the puzzle, the truth about Jon Arryn's death. He reveals that Arryn was poisoned, not by a fever, but by Lysa Arryn acting on Littlefinger's orders. Littlefinger's motives are complex, a tangled web of ambition, revenge, and personal gain. He wants to destabilize the realm, to create chaos that he can exploit. He sees Ned as a useful tool in his schemes, a pawn to be manipulated and discarded. Ned, however, has other plans. He uses Littlefinger's information to lure Cersei into a trap. He confronts her in the gardens, not as Lord Stark, but as someone else. A low-born messenger delivering a secret missive. In this guise, Ned reveals his knowledge of Cersei's crimes. He tells her that he knows about her affair with Jaime, that he knows about the illegitimacy of her children. He gives her a choice: confess her sins and flee King's Landing, or face the consequences. Cersei, for a moment, is taken aback. She had underestimated Ned Stark, dismissing him as a naive fool. But she quickly regains her composure. She knows that she cannot trust Ned to keep his word, that he will not hesitate to expose her if she tries to escape. So she chooses to fight. She summons the Gold Cloaks, ordering them to arrest Ned for treason. But Ned is prepared. He has anticipated Cersei's move, and he has his own allies within the City Watch. A bloody confrontation ensues, a chaotic melee in the heart of the Red Keep. Ned, drawing on his newfound skills, fights with a ferocity that surprises even himself. He moves with a speed and agility that belies his age, using the shadows and the confusion to his advantage. He manages to escape the Red Keep, but he is wounded. He seeks refuge in a hidden location, a secret sanctuary known only to him and a few trusted allies. There he tends to his wounds and contemplates his next move. He knows that he cannot remain in hiding forever. He needs to act quickly before Cersei can consolidate her power and silence him permanently. But how? How can he expose the Lannisters' treachery without plunging the realm into war? How can he maintain his own integrity while playing their game? The answer, he realizes, lies in his newfound skills. He will use his disguises, his deceptions, his ability to manipulate events from behind the scenes to bring the Lannisters down. He will become the Faceless Hand, the hidden force guiding the realm towards justice, even if it means sacrificing his own soul in the process. The seeds of subterfuge have been sown, and what blooms from this clandestine beginning may either save or ruin the realm of men. Only time will tell. Right, so picture this: Ned Stark, but with the skills of a faceless man. He's still Ned, the honorable warden of the North, at least on the surface. But underneath, a master of disguise, a whisper in the shadows, pulling strings you wouldn't even see. We're not talking full-blown assassinations right off the bat. That's not Ned's style. Instead, it's about information, subtle nudges, and playing the game better than anyone expects. He arrives in King's Landing, the stench of the capital hitting him like a wall. But this time it's different. He's not just seeing the corruption. He feels it, almost tastes it in the air. Jon Arryn's death hangs heavy, and the more he investigates, the more the Lannisters reek of involvement. But how do you fight lions? In their own den? Especially when everyone expects you to be. Well, Ned Stark, honorable, predictable, a bit slow. That's where the Faceless Man training comes in. The key is observation. Ned spends hours simply watching, not just the court, but the servants, the guards, the merchants hawking their wares. He learns to mimic their gaits, their voices, their mannerisms. He's already got the honorable northerner down pat. That's his cover. But now he needs to become a dozen other people, all with different access, different perspectives. His first target? Information. He needs to know what the Lannisters are hiding. He starts small. A gruff stable hand, overhearing snippets of conversation between Lannister guards. An elderly cook, gossiping with other servants about the queens. Private meetings. A city watchman, grumbling about the lack of pay and the blatant corruption he witnesses every day. Ned isn't just passively listening. He's probing. A carefully placed question here, a subtle agreement there, a sympathetic ear to a drunken rant. He offers small favors, a silver coin for information, a kind word for a weary heart. He's building a network, a web of informants, who don't even realize they're working for the hand of the king. Think about Varys for a second, the master of whispers. He thinks he's got everyone figured out, every secret uncovered. But Ned, as a faceless man, is playing him. He feeds Varys carefully crafted bits of information, truth mixed with subtle misdirections to steer the spider's attention away from his real objectives. Varys believes he's manipulating Ned, using the Northerner's naivete to his own advantage. The irony is delicious Dot and Littlefinger. Oh, Littlefinger is a challenge. The man is a walking, talking web of deceit, playing all sides against each other for his own amusement. He sees Ned as a pawn, a useful idiot in his game. But Ned understands Littlefinger's weakness, his arrogance. Littlefinger believes. He's the smartest man in the room, always 3 steps ahead, Dot. So Ned lets him think he is. He allows Littlefinger to help him, offering carefully chosen pieces of advice that seem to benefit Littlefinger's schemes. But each piece of advice is subtly designed to push Littlefinger in a specific direction, to use his own ambition against him. It's like playing a game of Savas, but the pieces are people, and the board is King's Landing. The most crucial part, maintaining the facade. Ned still has to be Ned Stark. He attends council meetings, offering honest, albeit sometimes blunt, advice. He argues with Cersei, upholding his honor and defending the king. He keeps his grief for Jon Arryn visible, his determination to find the truth unwavering. This is the tightrope walk. He can't be too perceptive, too clever, or the Lannisters will get suspicious. He has to let them underestimate him, to see him as a threat, but not a serious threat. A man who can be easily manipulated, easily controlled. Remember how everyone sees Ned? The honorable fool, the man out of his depth in the viper's nest of King's Landing. That's exactly what he wants them to see. It's the perfect disguise, but while everyone thinks he's fumbling his way through courtly intrigue, he's meticulously gathering evidence. The gold cloaks involved in Jon Arryn's death, the Queen's interesting family history, the whispers of incest and illegitimate children. He's piecing together the puzzle, one carefully gathered clue at a time. He uses his Faceless Man skills to access places he never could as Ned Stark. He disguises himself as a rat catcher to search the sewers beneath the Red Keep, finding discarded letters and incriminating documents. He becomes a laundry worker to eavesdrop on the Queen's handmaidens, learning secrets about her past. One particularly daring move involves infiltrating a Lannister feast disguised as a Dornish musician. He's close enough to hear Tywin Lannister's plans for the city to understand the depth of his ambition. It's a risk, a huge one, but the information is invaluable. The more he uncovers, the more dangerous the game becomes. The Lannisters are starting to suspect something. They can't quite put their finger on it, but they know Ned is not as simple as he appears. Cersei's glares become sharper, Tywin's scrutiny more intense. Even Littlefinger seems to be watching him more closely, trying to decipher his true motives. He knows he's running out of time. He needs to act and act soon. But he can't just accuse the Queen and her children of treason without irrefutable proof. He needs something concrete, something that will shatter the Lannisters' power and expose their lies to the entire realm. And that's when he focuses on Robert's bastards. He'd initially seen them as distractions, evidence of Robert's failings rather than key to the Lannisters' crimes. But as he pieces together the puzzle, he sees the truth. Robert's bastards are living proof of Joffrey's illegitimacy. Their hair, their eyes, their build. They all carry the Baratheon traits that Joffrey lacks. He finds Gendry, the blacksmith's apprentice, and recognizes the unmistakable Baratheon features. He visits Bara, Robert's infant daughter, and sees the same. Each encounter solidifies his conviction. Joffrey is not Robert's son. Now he has the weapon he needs. The truth. But how does he wield it? He can't just blurt it out in the throne room. The Lannisters would deny it, discredit him, and likely have him executed. He needs a plan, a carefully orchestrated move that will expose the truth without putting himself or the realm in immediate danger. That's where the final piece of the puzzle falls into place, the small council. He needs to convince the council, or at least a significant portion of it, that Joffrey is not the rightful heir. He needs allies, people who will stand with him against the Lannisters, even when the odds are stacked against them. He begins by approaching Stannis. Stannis is a difficult man, rigid, unyielding, but also honorable. Ned presents him with the evidence he's gathered, the physical resemblance of Robert's bastards, the lack of Baratheon traits in Joffrey, the whispers of incest. Stannis, initially skeptical, begins to see the truth. He's not driven by personal ambition, he's driven by duty. He believes in the law and the rightful succession. If Joffrey is not Robert's son, then he, Stannis, is the rightful heir. Next, he turns to Renly. Renly is more charismatic, more popular than Stannis, but also more pliable. Ned appeals to Renly's ambition, painting a picture of a realm ruled by a just and honorable king. He argues that Joffrey, if illegitimate, is unfit to rule. and that Renly, with his charm and popularity, is the best choice to lead the realm. Renly is intrigued. He sees the opportunity, the chance to seize the Iron Throne, but he also sees the danger. Challenging the Lannisters is a risky move, one that could plunge the realm into war. That's when Ned plays his final card, the promise of support. He tells Renly that he has evidence, irrefutable evidence, that will convince the realm of Joffrey's illegitimacy. He offers to present this evidence to the small council, to expose the Lannisters' lies and pave the way for Renly to claim the throne. With the support of Stannis and Renly, Ned has the allies he needs. He's ready to make his move. The game of masks is about to come to a head. He calls a meeting of the small council, informing them that he has a matter of utmost importance to discuss, a matter that concerns the succession to the Iron Throne. The stage is set. The players are in place. The truth is about to be revealed. But the question remains, will Ned's gamble pay off? Or will the Lannisters crush him before he can expose their lies? The stakes have never been higher, and the fate of the realm hangs in the balance. Remember, this isn't just about exposing a crime. It's about navigating the treacherous waters of King's Landing, a game where every move has consequences, and where the price of failure is death. And Ned Stark, the Faceless Hand, is about to play his hand. Ned Stark, the stoic warden of the North, the paragon of honor. What if he wasn't quite as forthcoming as he seemed? What if behind that grim facade lay a master of disguise, a whisperer in the shadows, a faceless man? Let's explore that notion in this section as we see how Ned's new skills come into play, culminating in a dramatic confrontation that could change Westeros forever. Beat. As we left off, Ned had begun to master the art of disguise, subtly influencing events in King's Landing to uncover the truth behind Jon Arryn's death and the rot at the heart of the Iron Throne. He's been playing a dangerous game, masking his true intentions while maneuvering the pieces on the board. Now it's time for the endgame. Beat. The court is a viper's nest. Cersei Lannister, cunning and ruthless, plots to secure her family's power. Littlefinger, ever the opportunist, revels in chaos and sows discord for his own amusement. Varys, the enigmatic eunuch, whispers secrets in every ear, his true allegiances shrouded in mystery. Ned, in his guise as the honorable but somewhat naive hand, seems to be playing right into their hands. But appearances, as we know, can be deceiving. Beat. Ned, as a faceless man, has been carefully gathering evidence, not just relying on the obvious clues, but actively creating opportunities to uncover the truth. He's been subtly manipulating the players, guiding them down certain paths, planting seeds of doubt and suspicion. He is a puppet master hiding in plain sight. One of his key targets is Cersei. He knows she is the heart of the Lannister deception, and he needs irrefutable proof of Joffrey's illegitimacy. Remember, without that, any accusations are simply the word of a northerner against the word of the Queen. That simply won't do. He's been observing her closely, studying her habits, her relationships, her weaknesses. He utilizes the skills he picked up in his training, applying subtle disguises. He might appear as a common serving man, overhearing conversations in the kitchens and gardens, or he might take on the guise of a visiting merchant, offering exotic goods and engaging in seemingly harmless banter with the Queen's ladies-in-waiting. gleaning valuable information. Beat. He discovers Cersei's secret rendezvous with Jaime, not through direct observation, but by subtly influencing Lancel Lannister. Remember Lancel? The weak-willed cousin? Ned, disguised as a sympathetic confessor, learns of Lancel's involvement in crippling King Robert, and then uses that information to manipulate Lancel into providing more information, painting a picture of Cersei's incestuous relationship with her brother. But it's not enough to know. He needs proof. He orchestrates a situation where a trusted ally, perhaps a loyal member of the Night's Watch on leave, witnesses Cersei and Jaime together under compromising circumstances, gathering indisputable evidence. A love letter, perhaps? A clandestine meeting overheard? The specifics depend on the risk he's willing to take, but the goal is clear. Obtain undeniable proof. Beat. While gathering evidence against Cersei, Ned also carefully cultivates relationships with key players like Varys and Littlefinger. He understands that these two are crucial to the balance of power in King's Landing, and he needs to understand their motivations and allegiances. He approaches Varys with caution, understanding the eunuch's network of informants and his reputation for playing all sides. Ned, in his public persona, presents himself as a well-meaning but somewhat naive hand seeking Varys' counsel. But beneath the surface, he uses his faceless abilities to glean information, subtly probing Varys' motives and allegiances. He might appear as a member of the small folk, confiding in Varys about his concerns for the realm, subtly steering the conversation towards the Lannisters and their influence. Or he might disguise himself as a foreign dignitary, seeking Varys' expertise on the political landscape of Westeros, observing his reactions and gauging his true feelings. Beat Littlefinger is an even more dangerous game. Ned knows Littlefinger as a master of manipulation, and that he cannot be trusted. But he also knows that Littlefinger possesses valuable information and influence that could be crucial to his plans. Ned approaches Littlefinger with a mixture of caution and feigned trust. He plays on Littlefinger's vanity, appealing to his ego and making him feel like he is indispensable. He might appear as a fellow conspirator, sharing his concerns about the Lannisters and seeking Littlefinger's assistance in uncovering their secrets. Or he might disguise himself as a potential client, seeking Littlefinger's services in a delicate matter, observing his methods and gauging his true intentions. He uses his faceless abilities to subtly influence Littlefinger's actions, guiding him down certain paths and planting seeds of doubt in his mind. He understands that Littlefinger is motivated by self-interest, and he uses that knowledge to manipulate him into serving his own purposes. Beat. All of this culminates in a dramatic confrontation. The stage is set, the players are in place, and Ned is ready to reveal his hand. The confrontation takes place in the throne room, with the entire court assembled. King Robert, oblivious to the storm brewing around him, sits on the Iron Throne. Cersei and Jaime stand beside him, radiating power and arrogance. Littlefinger and Varys lurk in the shadows, their eyes darting nervously. Ned steps forward, his face grim and determined. He publicly accuses Cersei of treason and incest, presenting the irrefutable proof he has gathered. The court erupts in chaos. Cersei denies the accusations, claiming they are lies and fabrications. Jian draws his sword, ready to defend his sister's honor. Robert, stunned and bewildered, demands answers. He turns to Ned, his voice filled with disbelief. He says something along the lines of, "Ned, what is the meaning of this? Is this true?" Ned, in this moment, could simply execute Cersei and Jaime. He could seize power and declare himself regent until Robert's true-born heir comes of age. But that's not Ned Stark, or at least it wasn't the Ned Stark we knew. The Faceless Man within him sees a different path, one that avoids bloodshed and prevents a descent into full-blown war. He knows that executing Cersei and Jaime would only plunge the realm into chaos, sparking a war between the Lannisters and the Starks, a war that could tear Westeros apart. He also knows that many in the court, including Littlefinger and Varys, are waiting for an opportunity to seize power amidst the chaos. Instead, Ned reveals a different truth. He presents evidence not just of Cersei's infidelity, but of Robert's own. He subtly reveals that Robert Baratheon isn't known to be the most discerning man when it comes to companionship. He hints with carefully chosen words and presented evidence at a lack of true Baratheon blood within Joffrey. This revelation throws the court into even greater turmoil. The legitimacy of the entire Baratheon dynasty is now in question. Robert, enraged and humiliated, lashes out at Cersei, but the damage is done. The seeds of doubt have been planted, and the court is now divided. Then Ned drops the real bombshell. He reveals that he has been in contact with Stannis and Renly Baratheon, Robert's brothers, and that they are both willing to step forward and claim the throne. He presents evidence that Jon Arryn was about to do the same thing, setting the stage for this very event. The careful orchestration is now on full display. The court is now in a state of complete chaos. Loyalties are tested, alliances are forged and broken, and the future of Westeros hangs in the balance. Amidst the confusion, Ned subtly influences the key players, guiding them towards a peaceful resolution. He appeals to Varys' desire for stability, reminding him that a war would only benefit those who thrive on chaos, like Littlefinger. He appeals to Littlefinger's self-interest, showing him that he could gain more power and influence by supporting a peaceful transition of power. Through a combination of persuasion, manipulation, and strategic revelations, Ned manages to sway the court towards supporting Renly Baratheon as the next king. Renly, young, charismatic, and popular, is seen as the best hope for uniting the realm and preventing a war. Stannis, although the rightful heir, is deemed too rigid and unyielding to rule effectively. Robert, weakened by his wounds and disillusioned by the revelations, reluctantly agrees to name Renly as his heir. He knows that Renly is the only one who can keep the realm from falling apart. Cersei and Jaime are imprisoned, their power stripped away. Renly Baratheon is crowned king, ushering in a new era for Westeros. The realm breathes a collective sigh of relief, narrowly avoiding a descent into war. But Ned's work is far from overdone as Hand of the King under Renly. Ned now faces the challenge of navigating the new political landscape. He uses his faceless abilities to guide Renly, subtly influencing his decisions and helping him to establish a stable and just rule. He advises Renly on how to appease the powerful lords of the realm, offering them positions of power and influence in exchange for their loyalty. He helps Renly to reform the government, implementing policies that promote fairness and transparency. He uses his faceless abilities to uncover corruption and intrigue within the court, rooting out those who would seek to undermine Renly's rule. He continues to cultivate relationships with Varys and Littlefinger, using them as sources of information and influence. But even as he works to guide the realm towards stability, Ned wrestles with the moral implications of his deception. He is, after all, a man of honor, and the use of disguise and manipulation goes against everything he believes in. He questions whether the ends justify the means, whether the stability he has achieved is worth the price of his own integrity. He struggles with the guilt of deceiving those he cares about, of betraying their trust. He considers revealing the truth about his faceless abilities, but he knows that doing so would only create more chaos and distrust. Ultimately, Ned comes to the realization that he must live with the choices he has made. He understands that he cannot undo the past, but he can learn from it. He resolves to use his faceless abilities for good, to protect the realm and its people, even if it means sacrificing his own peace of mind. He also understands that he cannot do it alone. He confides in a select few trusted allies, revealing the truth about his faceless abilities and seeking their counsel. These allies, including perhaps Catelyn, Maester Luwin, and even a trusted member of the Kingsguard, help him to navigate the treacherous waters of King's Landing and to maintain his moral compass. As the years pass, Ned becomes known as the wise and just hand of the king, the architect of Westeros' newfound stability. He is respected and admired throughout the realm, but few know the true extent of his influence. He continues to use his faceless abilities to guide Renly and to protect the realm, always striving to do what is right, even when it is difficult. But the shadow of the past continues to haunt him. He knows that his deception will eventually be revealed, and he prepares himself for the consequences. He understands that his actions have changed him, that he is no longer the same man he once was. He is now a faceless man, forever bound to the shadows, forever wrestling with the moral implications of his actions. But he is also a hero, the man who saved Westeros from war and guided it towards a brighter future. And that is the legacy of Ned Stark, the Faceless Hand, a legacy built on secrets, deception, and a willingness to sacrifice everything for the good of the realm, but a legacy nonetheless. The Honorable Ned Stark, forever changed by the Game of Thrones, and forever bound to the shadows. But what do you think? Could Ned Stark truly become a faceless man? And if he did, would he be able to live with the consequences of his actions? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more alternative Westeros timelines.